Are you starting to take singing seriously and you want to do it right? Or maybe you've been singing for a long time and you're kind of frustrated with the lack of progress? Well, I've been there too, and lucky for you, I'm going to go over 5 common mistakes I see singers make all the time, and for each one of them, I'm going to break down what's going on and how to fix it. Singing at a high level is really tough, but it becomes a lot more manageable when you have knowledgeable people in your corner who've actually been through it. And that's where I come in. Hi, I'm Alex. I've been singing for 18 years. I performed off Broadway and across the country, and now I teach voice privately. And if you're serious about improving your singing, stick around because the last mistake might be the one you've been afraid to admit, but could change everything. This is when I wish I figured out a lot earlier, and when I first started taking my lessons, I treated my teachers like they knew everything and I knew nothing, so I never spoke up. And while that may have been true knowledge-wise, it didn't mean I couldn't say like, hey, that didn't make sense, or I don't really get that concept, can you explain that to me? And now as a teacher, I see this all the time. I'll give a direction or I'll ask a question of them and I'll always get like the classic, okay, and then I ask if they have questions and it's always, nope. Well, that's the problem. If you're not engaging in your lessons, you're not growing in your singing. And if I ask how something felt and you say, I don't know, I can guarantee you that every teacher hates that answer. It wasn't until my junior year of college where I really started treating my lessons like a true collaboration. Sure, I had more confidence, more experience, more performance opportunities, but really I realized that I was the one that was responsible for my vocal development. And when a student is actually engaged, asks questions, shares how something feels, that's a really proud moment for me as a teacher, and I will always thank them because that's when the progress really starts to happen, and that's when this technique starts to click. And yeah, talking about your voice is really hard. It's personal, you don't want to ask dumb questions, but let me tell you this. There are no dumb questions in a voice lesson. And if you have a teacher that makes you feel like there are dumb questions, stick around, because we'll talk about that more later. Lessons aren't about getting the answers handed to you. It's about building your vocabulary around your voice, because once you could speak on your voice, you could manage your practice more efficiently, and that's when technique development really starts to move. So next time you're in a lesson, don't say, I don't know. Ask them, if you were in my shoes, what would you be focusing on right now? And yeah, it might be a little awkward at first, but that's how you build ownership of your voice. When I started singing seriously at 12, I had zero body awareness, and to be perfectly honest with you, I don't know many 12-year-olds who do, and even if you start singing later in life, I wouldn't expect you to have this skill because most casual singers, in the car, the shower, whatever, don't really stop to ask themselves the question, hey, did that feel weird? Or what's my body doing right here? And that's perfectly normal. That's okay. For me, physical awareness happened slowly over time through a teacher who pushed me really hard. And it wasn't some big breakthrough or anything, it was actually kind of a slow burn. But he gave me tools that really helped me find my tension on my own, like feeling around my solar plexus for chest tension, feeling underneath my jaw for tongue tension, even rolling my neck around while I was singing just to check for neck strain. These things seem basic, sure, but honestly it shows you where your tension lives, and eventually you won't need these tools because you start to feel it automatically. And I always ask my students how something feels, whether they killed it or not, because they need to start thinking about singing physically. Some tension is visible, like jaw clenching, neck tightening, locked shoulders, but a lot of it sneaks in, and you don't notice it right away. But tension will stall your growth if you do not recognize it early. And here's the kicker, you could sound great with tension, but it doesn't mean it's sustainable or healthy. In fact, I'd argue when you're first starting out, how it feels matters much more than how it sounds, because your sound can lie to you, but your body can't. So here's what I recommend. 1. Sing in front of a mirror. You'd be surprised how easy you could spot tension if you just looked at yourself while you're singing. 2. Feel around your body physically, around your jaw, your neck, your solar plexus, like I mentioned earlier. 3. Ask your teacher where they think your tension lives and go work on that in your practice room. Not that hard to do. And 4, oh my gosh, this might be the most important one. Please record your lessons. Not enough people do this. Video is ideal. Audio works too. You'd be surprised how much value you will get out of this. And 5, one that people don't really think about often, stretch before you sing. You need to limber up the body before you go and do this thing. Not a lot of people do it. Do it. And if you start to feel tension coming on during a practice session, don't keep going. Just stop, fix the issue, then reset. Because the better you get at recognizing tension, the faster you'll grow in your technique. Yeah, I've been there. When I was younger, I thought I was hot shit and that I did not need to practice. That could not have been a bigger mistake. I had one teacher yell at me in front of my entire class. I was kicked out of my lessons for not practicing. I was even put on academic probation. That was pretty humbling for me. Now, I see this mindset all the time in my students. Practicing means I'm going to warm up a couple times, sing my song, and hang up my hat and go home. But if you do this in your practice sessions, just do the same thing over and over again without clear goals or reflection, that's not really practicing. That's just repeating old habits. And if I'm not mistaken, that's the literal definition of insanity. Most musicians will tell you that they don't like practicing. It's not glamorous, it's not fun, and it's especially frustrating if you don't even know what to work on in the first place. But real practice happens before you even sing a note. What's the plan? What is your goal today? And what technique did your last lesson highlight that you need to work on? Lessons give you the tools, but real growth happens in the practice room. And look, singing in the car or shower is fine, but it's not structured. And if you want to get serious at this, you gotta go deeper than that. Start recording your lessons like I told you in the last mistake. Write down 1 to 3 goals that you want to work on in the practice room, and make sure those goals are clear and measurable. And if you're feeling guilty about not practicing, don't beat yourself up, but you should ask yourself why. Usually if we're feeling guilty about something, it's because we know we're capable of more. And if this is just a hobby to you, that's fine. But you have to be honest with yourself, because you get out what you put in. Look, buying a lesson doesn't make you a better singer, just like buying a book doesn't mean you read it. I've been there. You spend all week working, let's say it's breath control, and you go into your lesson, and he says, "Great, now your posture's slipping." It's frustrating. It feels like you're playing whack-a-mole with your technique, and I promise you my students feel this way too. Learning to sing takes time, and if you want to sing at a high level, you have to put in the hours. There's that old 10,000 hours rule to master something, right? Well, for singing, that definitely holds up. Most people want to be at the finish line before the race even starts. But my voice teacher put it perfectly. He said, "Alex, learning to sing is like sailing. You can't go in a straight line. You have to tack back and forth because you have to course correct." So yeah, maybe you fixed your breath this week and your posture slipped a little bit. It doesn't mean you failed. It doesn't mean you're bad. It means you're developing. I can say from experience that a lot of singers walk into lessons thinking, "Oh, if I just fix this one song, I'd be great," or "I'll be a great singer in 3 months." And honestly, that's more coaching, not so much teaching. We could talk about that later. But teaching builds the whole voice, and that takes a ton of time, attention, and patience. If you stop chasing perfection and set small, manageable, clear goals, this whole process will become a lot more rewarding for you. Don't ask, "Am I a better singer this week?" Ask, "Did I complete my goal this week to move forward?" And yeah, instant gratification is everywhere. Sing better in 5 seconds. Oh, if you only did this one hack, your mix will be unlocked. Yeah, this stuff is tempting, but that's not how this works. And honestly, that's what makes this whole process so rewarding. It's because you earn it. I've had 2 main voice teachers in my life who were huge parts of my development. One in high school and one in college. But before that, I tried a teacher who just wasn't a good fit. She was big on medals, trophies, all these accolades, and that's fine, don't get me wrong, it's just not how I connect with music. And she was also great with the technical stuff too, it's just the values didn't add up, and that totally matters. I've seen plenty of friends switch teachers as well. Sometimes it was the teacher's approach didn't work, sometimes the student didn't feel supported, and sometimes the teacher was just kinda downright mean. Which is funny because I actually respond really well to negative feedback, but maybe that's another story. Here's the thing. If your gut says the dynamic's off, you're probably right. And that does not mean they're a bad teacher. It just means they're not your teacher. And I know switching can feel weird. I've had friends lose sleep over it. If I had to have that conversation, I'd probably stress about it too. But here's how I see it. You have both entered into a business relationship making a product, your voice. And if something's not working, it is okay to leave that relationship. Odds are, they can feel the disconnect too. It doesn't have to be some dramatic exit. All you have to do is be simple, honest, and direct. Because at the end of the day, you are the one responsible for your voice. So just to recap, we've covered 5 mistakes I see singers making all the time. Not treating your lessons as a collaboration, ignoring your physical awareness, not practicing with intention, wanting too much too quickly, and sticking it out with a teacher who is not a good fit. If any of these hit home for you, good. That means you're paying attention, that means you care, and you're making a step in the right direction. Singing is hard. but it's one of the most rewarding things you could pour yourself into, and it gets a lot easier when you know what to look out for. Thank you so much for watching and spending time with me. I hope this helps you feel more grounded, more focused, and excited to keep going. I'll see you in the next one.